Oops. All right. Well, we are on. Welcome to webinar number 3 for InStat. We appreciate everybody coming, and I think we have a pretty exciting program for you today. We have Louis Robitaille, the head coach and general manager of the Gatineau Olympique. And we have Josh Dixon, who has coached in the Western League, in the Quebec League, and also with Hockey Canada in the Subway Series. And Louis, you also coached in the Subway Series with Hockey Canada. We have matching shirts actually today. Nice job, guys. And Louis will be going over post-game review and pre-scout within the InStat platform, and Josh will be reviewing individual development with rostered players that he did with individuals on his team. So, guys, thanks for coming today. I hope you're doing well. How's everything going?
Thanks, Mark. Everything's going well.
Josh, how are you doing?
Good, Mark. Thanks.
Hey,
Louis, how you doing?
Hey, Josh.
We're all dealing with the quarantine haircut, so I apologize for my hairstyle, guys. All right. Well, Louis, do you want to share your screen and get going here? I think you're going to lead us off, correct?
Yeah. Well, thanks a lot, Mark. So first of all, what I'll be showing you guys is, what we do in the office here with the assistant coach in Victo last year. Having access to all those information is so useful. It's a great tool for us to actually narrow down exactly what we want to see, or what we're going to be able to, to do differently regarding, a specific opponent. Here is an example of receiving a post-game report. Let's say here we're playing. I'll bring you guys to it. We're playing Bathurst on a Friday night, so. We received like those 3 post-game report from Bathurst the previous week. So here we can tell like Bathurst, they played Cape Breton. They got outshot pretty badly here, 74 to 43. But most importantly here is Bathurst, the location of their shots. Or if you see here, looking at their previous game, you can tell that not a lot of shots are coming from the point. So we can adjust as a staff and say, we look at the way Cape Breton played against them. Did they apply a lot of pressure on their defensemen? So that'll give us a really good idea of what team did against them, and they had success. On the other side here, what I like to use is the special teams. If you look at their shots on goal on the power play or on the PK, the time that they spend with the puck, the goal that they score. So this is really an important tool to use. I think before we start watching videos, it's going to give us an idea of what to look for. The other thing I really like to check is the ice time of their players. If you look here, you can tell that their top pairing of Aucoin and Larkin is spending a good amount of time on the ice, 26, 27 minutes. They seem to be a team that played 4 lines. So when you play a 3-3, and especially playing at home, give you a feel. Or if you're on the road, sometime as a coach, it can help us manage our lines and saying, hey, tonight we're going to be able to play our 4 lines. So if you look at different teams, sometimes they don't play those young guys, or they don't play their 4th line quite as much. So heading to the week in our prep, I think it's a great tool. It's a great way to get organized for our upcoming game. The other thing I really like to use is, our assistant coach, they were looking at their lines. If you look at their forward lines, the lines of Engelart, Ramsey, and Hutkins, like as a 16 years old, they play a lot 5-on-5. You can look also as their special teams, like who are their power play unit? Are they a left shots on the left side? So all those things heading to the week, I think helps and benefit the players. And now if you look, I'll switch right here.
So Louis, those reports, you would receive those of your upcoming opponents on a Monday or Tuesday from InStat, correct? So for example, a next opponent report, and you can sit down and then you can compare those, and then that provides you a direction to look at within the platform of the video you can use, which is what you're going to show us now, correct?
Exactly. It's important as an head coach. Like, we had the luxury to have 3 full-time assistant coach. So we had one that was, doing mainly our post-game reports that were, spending a lot of time on our players and on our team. And then We had like a guy like Nick or Max Joyal who was doing a lot of the pre-scouts. So they were able to get all those information. And one thing that we do with InStats, what I like to do is looking at their goals or their shot, the location of their shots. And if you see here, we can switch from the last 3 games to the last 10 games. Here we can see that they had good net presence. They were accurate. They were good on rebounds. Like I said, you look at the percentages of their shot coming from the point. A lot of them were coming from their right side. So that's something afterwards when you look at their roster, Mark, you can go down and say, okay, we need to apply maybe a little bit more pressure. Our left wing, you guys can have a major role tonight if they want to direct shots to the net. The other thing that we really like to do is the special team. You look at the amount of penalties there is in a game now. It's almost 25% of the game. So getting ready for the PP and PK. And it's a little bit of the same thing here where we can see where their goals are coming from. If I go here, spots and goals, where they're shooting also, spot on the ice. And then what I like is I like to see them, to click on the link, and then you have a short video of the clip of the goal that they scored. Here you see the right side is 0 points, the left D-man playing the top. So it helps the coaching staff to establish a good PP, a good PK, and we can also build movie by selecting the goals that we want or selecting the shots. If I go here and I just want the goals, if I want all the shots on net, I can put a video together and I can bring it. We were working with the platform Exos, and I know now, getting to know InStats a little bit more, you can also trim the clip yourself. And you can build those movies so you don't even have to go somewhere else. So you can select the clip that you want. The other thing that we like to use as far as pre-scout is the goalies, especially for a goalie coach. You look at their goalie here, Tristan Berube, you can see the location where he has a little bit more trouble. Here we can say like top glove or right next to the head here. So mid-net on the glove side, that's where near the ears, he's having a little bit more problem. He's a smaller goalie, smaller stature. So we can have a good net presence. And also, like I said, with the power play or the PK, I can just go here and click on the goals. So now I can select any area that I want. And that's going to help us or help our goalie coach to do a pre-scout of the goalie and give me the information. Or sometimes just in shootings to start the week on Tuesday or Wednesday, maybe he has trouble with the side to side or against screens. So we're going to be able to practice different aspect of the game heading to the Friday night's game. That being said, here once the game is done, what I like to do here is we get the same kind of report for our game. So here, if I go back on our PDF. The game is played. Now what I like is to compare the game plan, what we were looking to do, the shots, our location for the shots, our face-offs are here. So it's really detailed. And the best advice, Mark, I can say, and Josh, maybe you can jump in on that, is you can get lost easily with all those information. It's important to narrow down exactly what you're looking for. It's important for the staff even to give responsibility. If you're assistant coach, maybe take a look at the face-off, go a bit more in depth with the face-off, the other assistant coach in charge of power play. And then when you sit down the following day, you can all share what you saw in those report, and then you're going to be able to cover all aspects. Because as a head coach, my wife didn't appreciate when we signed in with InStats because I was spending so much time with it. It's like a kid in a candy store. I'm like, and trust me, I like candy. Spending a lot of time on it. It's so fun. So there's a lot of games in the queue. We have 68 games, so we cannot cover everything. It's really important to, like I said before, to look for specific things. So maybe Josh, I don't know if you have anything to share regarding that.
Well, I think you're bang on, Louis, in terms of being able to prioritize as a staff what's important to your team, what are areas you need to improve upon, and what are things you do well. And then when you get these post-game reports, really go right to those areas. As you say, otherwise you get caught in pages and pages of data, and maybe it overwhelms you, especially when you're in a weekend where you're playing back-to-back or 3-3s, being able to take out the information from the game you just played and then get right to the pre-scout in terms of what you need to focus on with your opponent. I think that's a great point. And it all comes with preparation, with good communication as a staff and proper preparation that's specific to your team and specific to your type of players.
And one thing I just want to echo is that what we put out on those reports is found within the platform, right? So when you say that you want to drill in further to the faceoffs or the line combinations, we also have those opportunities to go into the platform after reviewing the initial data that's sent to you on a hard copy, and go into the platform and actually review those with video attached to it then. So I agree with you. I think it's really important to narrow in on what you want to look at, but also everything on that report is provided within the platform with video attached.
Well, you're right on. And a lot of the time getting those reports by email, you can do it from your house, and, you can mark what you liked, what you didn't like. And just to give you an example here, this is a game against Val-d'Or where we felt we dominated the game. We played so well. We were all excited after the game, and looking at those numbers the following morning, it was a day off. I sat at home and I remember, I'm like, geez, I thought we played way better than them. But if you look at the numbers and you look at the shots and you look at the location of their shots compared to ours, you look at the time possession here, which is a 50-50 game here. So that helps to take away the emotion and really focus on, maybe we were not that great, or some games that you play, you think you played bad. Maybe we were not that bad. So it really helps me, to get my head straight as a coach after the game, looking at those numbers. And it's the same thing with the players. The players here, they have access after the game to all those information here. Whether it's the ice time,
just quickly on an individual basis, right? They have
on the individual basis,
individual information. Yeah.
So we talk on a collective basis here, and Mark, but now this is more on the individual post game. So the players, sometimes they feel that they played a really good game, and they look at that. It's going to be a lot easier the next morning to come down and sit and, hey, did you look at your number? Even though you scored a goal and an assist, your shift length was too long. You didn't maybe generate as many chances. Your Corsi was high. Or is really good. So if you look at Mihai here, he had a really good game, whereas Corsi plus was 30, Corsi minus was 7. So the player has access to shift, but also to the stats attached to it. And if I go back here and I get the office, I can start going here with the post-game report. And like you said, all of the clips or the media is attached to the stats that we saw in the PDF.
So quickly, Louis, so what you were just referencing is the player access that we provide. And if a player is entered into the system, which is easy to do and can be explained to you by any InStat employee, the day when the game is broken down, they receive in their email box an individualized email with their own PDF report describing their statistics from the previous night, and also their individual shifts broken down within the game, or the option to watch the entire game in full. And Louis, one thing I want to point out on that page you're on right now with Mikhail is the settings wheel to the top right of the box score, that little gear wheel. And if you go there, we can narrow down, I would go to the box score, the table with the data, the top right of that table. If you go all the way over, there's a same wheel to the top right, down. I'm not describing, there you go, right there. We can actually help you narrow down the data. So if you choose what you want to see in the platform, this saves it. Every time you enter into the platform, you see what you want to see in each individualized box. So if in the box score, you only wanted to see your core numbers that you believe in, that you want to track, you would click those, and those are the only things that would appear in your box to individualize it, just to help you narrow it down. But I'll let you get back to what you were talking about. Sorry to interrupt there.
No, that's good. And then we can go now as a staff, and we can look at numbers. And this is the game against Bathurst here. The shot, the location. We can have a good feel of where we were successful as a team. We're here. 10. We only had 10 shots on goal out of 29. So maybe a lot of shots were blocked, or or maybe we can work on deception with our forwards after that individually. So there's a lot to work on, and it's such a great tool for us after games. And then, like I said before, the players are having access to their shift and their stats individually as an assistant coach or a head coach. You can go and you can share with them, or you can show them exactly what they did right or wrong that game. And it helps with the individual video, so much. And I think, Josh, you're going to head over with the individual video and working individually. But for us here as a staff, and that's what I wanted to point out, is really as a head coach working on the pre-scout, the post-game report. It's a great tool to get to know your team. And here, if I look at is it this one here? This is the post game. We can select the last 10 games exactly as a team, where we were successful, where we had trouble, the shots that were coming. This is the shot for, the shots against. So we like to use the individual stats, the scoring chances and stuff like that individually, but also collectively here. If you look, maybe we can work on our box house. So that's something that we, as a staff, we talked about, and we really value the importance. It's really important for us, and we were always on top of that. So that's the way I use it as a head coach mostly. And then also, if I want to write down a player, or if I want to look at another player, another team's player, I can click here on the box score, and I can select the other. Jacob Gaucher here, for me, he's a good player for them. He's a big, strong centerman. So I can look individually at his last games, or I can show our centerman in the pre-scouts, the face-off, the face-off that he won, the face-off that he lost. So like I said, as a head coach, I think preparation is the key. And after that, you're able to use this to your advantage as a group.
Very interesting. Thank
Josh,
you.
you want to go down and you want to explain a little bit what you're doing individually? I think it's going to help people out.
Yeah, for sure. Thanks, Louis. What I like to do is to try to transition from the team concept, looking at it from a team perspective, into how do you then start looking as an individual. So let me just get set up here. So Louis talked about this, and this is a homepage of one of the games. So I went through and picked a game late October against Halifax. What my process is whether you're on the bus for a road game after the game or the next morning, if it's a home game, I like to go through and look at the scoring chances, look at them from a team perspective, and break down how many chances did we have, how many chances did we give up, and then also give out a plus minus to each player based on scoring chances created or scoring chances given up. So on this homepage here, it's a good platform to be able to do it. You can see this is St. John here. So this is the goals. This is a 4-1 game. You can see where the chances and the shots occurred from. And then I just click on this button here, and it's going to pop up a window and all the video for all of the shots. So I've selected all the shots. So I go through and watch all the shots. Some of them, it's just a shot from the blue line. It's outside. It's not a threat. You just quickly go through. The other ones that are actually a scoring chance, that's the real meat you want to get to, and it gives you, I think, a good sense of how your team played. And Louis talked about it. Sometimes you win a game and you wake up the next morning and think you played well, and you start going through and maybe the numbers speak differently. So it's nice to have an eye test. On here, you're able to then select. So I wanted to go through Halifax's shots and their chances and then watch those. After I've done that, I go through and give everyone a plus minus. So going through this plus minus, I picked out a player, Nick Deaconpoot, was a player that played for me for a couple years in St. John, just signed on with Acadia. In this game, he had 2 assists, but more importantly, he was a shutdown centerman. We hard matched him against Halifax's top line of Gru, and you can see Lavoie here as well. And so after going through the scoring chances, I see his performance. For me, he had 6 chances against. So now I can pull up the stats, and I can highlight him right over here and start going through, okay, he had 2 assists, but let's look at some of the details of his game. There's 60.9% in the faceoff, which is outstanding. And even more so, here's Benoit Olivier Gru, who's a real good player, and he's 45%, and that's Nick really going up against him every faceoff all night long. And you can start to really look at some of the stats of his performance, and from here you can start to put together some video. So what I like to do is, after I've had a chance to watch the scoring chances for and against, give the players their scoring chance plus minus, pick out a player I want to sit down with, and maybe it's for positive feedback, maybe it's to give him some constructive feedback, but spend some time with the daily touch to make sure you watch the video with the player and help them develop. So in this case, like I said, we're going to pick number 16 here, Nick Deacompoot. So I go through his shifts and I put together some clips here. And the nice thing about this platform is the ability, and Louis talked about it, to trim the shifts as well as to use some graphics. So here I've highlighted the player, and throughout this video, I'm going to highlight different areas I want to talk about with the player. So I bring Nick in, I have Nick sit down. We talk about the scoring chance plus minus. We talk about some of his stats. We talk about his point production as well as the job he did shutting down. Here's Gru 19, here's Lavoie 50. They're two top players. And then we can go through and give him some feedback from his shifts, positive areas for improvement. And as I go through this video, we're also going to add an NHL comparable as well. So I'll let this video here run, and we'll just talk as I would through Nick if we sit down in an individual player meeting. So the first category I have here is D-zone face-off and D-zone coverage. Good camera angle here. Nick's a real good centerman. As we said, he went 60.9% on the face-offs in this game. You can see good wide position, good lower hand, strong on the stick. And as I go through this here, you're going to see him own the dot. He does a real good job against Gru. Trickle in. Cut this sound off here. So here we have a chance to highlight here. Good stick position. There's a loose puck and a good second effort by Nick to win that puck. Now the puck's going to come back to the point. Here's an area for Nick to focus on. We'll talk about this a few times in the video. Not playing goal, worrying about the shot, but worrying about where his man is. Gives me an opportunity to isolate that in the video and show him an area he can focus on and improve. And using graphics obviously makes it more obvious to the player. Next clip, another face-off situation. This one on the right side, he's a left shot. He's going to lose this draw, but it really shows a good job by Nick staying with his centerman. You see, he keeps body position. He's going to block a shot. And here's a loose puck battle where he keeps D-side positioning. Good use of the stick to work on Gru, and he keeps inside position between the puck and the net. Now a teaching point here. He's going to come into a battle. Yeah, go ahead, Lou.
Maybe you can help us out to show us how you do those graphics. I think, there's a lot of coach that once we go over the individual video that knows how to do that. And it's a great tool, I think, to narrow down or the player to have a visual on it.
Perfect. Yeah. So once we pull up his shifts, so I go through the game and watch all his shifts. And then if I want to trim it, I'm just clicking change borders here, and I can play around with the cuts, the in and outs. If I want to make this shift a little bit longer, if I want to narrow it down. And then if I want to add a graphic, so here I can add a picture. Let's say I want to highlight, maybe I want to highlight Gru here. I can leave this here, click on it as well. Because Nick's in here now, he's lost D-side positioning. I want him on the D side of his check. Here's a loose puck here. If he loses body positioning, Gru picks this up. He's got a free pass to the net. Then I click on save. It's added to the clip. It also creates a little pause as well, which gives me time to talk with the player with the video is paused, illustrate my point, and then I can hit play, and the next clip goes on.
And Josh, to add on to that, you can control the length of the pause, correct?
Exactly.
So
yeah.
You can lengthen the pause if you want to be able to talk a little bit longer. You can lengthen it out to 10 seconds, 15 seconds, or if it's just a real quick thing that you want to go over, it can be 2 seconds, 3 seconds, whatever you desire.
Exactly. And especially from a development perspective. So here's a real good clip here, nice and in tight of Nick. Again, left-handed shot. He's on the right side for a face-off. He likes to do, and Sid Crosby's probably the best in the world at this, he likes to try to win it over the boards. And this is something he worked with our face-off coach, Mike Eagles, on a number of times. So he's got a flat stick, and he's going to own the dot. He's going to power through his stick over the dot, and he's going to make sure he owns that dot and drives the puck towards the wall. So it gives you an opportunity by slowing down the clip, by getting in tight, by highlighting specifics. So here's his stick all the way over the dot on the puck, and he's going to win this puck towards the wall. Really helps that player identify areas they can focus on and things they're doing well. Again, a pause here. He's supporting the puck, so I can highlight this zone here. He's demanding the puck. He doesn't get it, but he supports it well. And now he's going to come back and get this puck again. And a nice little indirect. And again, he supports the puck. So it's nice tools that you can use to teach and be able to show the player specifics. And then for me, it's important as we go through this, Nick and I are having open discussion. I pause and we talk. What did you see there? What did you think? How did you feel going against him? What adjustments did you have to make? And the key is then taking this video, and Louis can certainly touch on this, the carry over to practice. We play this the Friday night, Saturdays of practice, then giving that player time after the practice is over, individual time to work with the coach to work on these specifics that you show them on the video. But important to be able to do this before they go on the ice so that they recognize things they can focus on. And video support always helps in addition just to the coach's eye as well.
100%. I agree with you. So, Josh, you also mentioned that you added NHL clips, so you could show him an NHL comparison of what you wanted to see from him in certain situations.
Yeah, so if we just go through this, so I've got a number of clips for him. Again, more face-offs, more defensive situations. And then what we did, and I'll go here to the there's the Tampa example.
I'll just click in the heart of it. You're clicking on the play button.
There you go.
Yeah, there we go.
So as this is loading here, so Pat Maroon was the example that we used for Nick. I think it's really important that players have NHL comparables. Obviously, the scouts are all going to ask them every time they meet with them, give me an NHL comparable. Who do you play like? Who do you like to try to mirror your game after? And then for the player as well, to have a player that he's watching in the NHL to try to learn and grow his game from. So for Nick, we took Pat Maroon. We watched him last year when he was with St. Louis all the way through the Stanley Cup final. And then here's some clips on Tampa. So here's an example. Now, Maroon's a winger. And the reason we picked Maroon as well is obviously similar stature, left shot. But for Nick, we talked about his game. If he's going to play at the pro level, more likely as a winger than it would be as a centerman. So it's important that he can pick up some left wing habits from Maroon that he can then apply at the next level. But I try to find clips with Maroon doing similar things to what Nick does as well. So here's Maroon. He's the first forward back. He's going to track back to the defensive zone. And it just shows he tracks all the way back to the crease. He's going to stop. He's going to support the puck. And then here's a real good job layering on the defensive side of the puck. Got 3 layers between the puck and the net. He doesn't get himself stuck in the pile, but he's out far enough from his check. He's going to recognize when the puck comes free. And then this is a real good job. And for Nick, this is important because he really ends up playing goal a lot of the time, ends up blocking shots. So here's the puck at the point. Rather than get himself in the lane trying to block the shot, he's going to ride his check up. He's going to stay D side of his check and make sure he takes them all the way.
Oh,
as the
really
clip goes
cool
on here. And then good support. Again, Maroon's a winger, but good support through the middle of the ice. He stays inside the dot lane. So the winger on the wall has an opportunity to bump him the puck. He's not overskating the puck. And again, this is something for centermen, but especially Nick is a real fast skater, likes to continually be in motion. This is something he can really focus on to try to control his game through the middle of the ice. And I'll just skip ahead here, and then we get to some power play stuff. Nick was a net front presence on the power play. And so Maroon's doing the same thing for Tampa on their power play. So an opportunity to highlight, here's Maroon net front, battling for possession net front, and then doing a real good job. You hear you screening Bobrovsky. He's right at the top of the blue paint. He's in the goaltender's eyes, and he's staying there. And if I click through some of these clips here that I've got of Maroon, this was the key message for Nick is to stay net front, don't drift away from the front of the net. Here he's ready for Stamkos. He's going to load up a one-timer, and then real good effort. He's on his toes. He gets in, he takes the body, so that Johnson can be second man quick and Tampa can recover the puck.
So it's be able, yeah.
You get the idea. So
yeah,
so this is the key with these individuals.
But it's just great to be able to show them, different levels of players and what they can aspire to do and what these players are doing and how they can fill that potential hole in the lineup at the next level, right? So it's great for them to visually.
And if we want Mark, we can with the share playlist, that meeting that you created, you can send it to him also if he wants to have reminders the day before the game or some of the stuff, if you're going to meet him the next morning, you can send him the day before. So, hey, that's what we're going to talk about the following morning.
Exactly. Josh could just click there on the share playlist and then type in Nick DeCompute name
and send it off to him.
Email and send it off. Absolutely. Very interesting. Well, thank you for sharing that. I'm going to go to the audience here. Actually, do you guys have anything to add before I go to the audience and ask them if they might have any questions for you?
No, well, I think, for the coaches, it's such a great tool, Mark, just like, on the individual part, like Josh just did with the highlighting colors and having access to the NHL clips. I think that was a key point there, Josh, where, they have comparables. Like sometimes guys see the highlights on TSN in the morning and they think, oh, that's how they score their goals. But if you narrow it down and you look at all their goals, they're inside the house or they do something specific. That sometimes the players, as you know, the new generation of kids, they don't watch game anymore. They watch highlight, they watch YouTube clips. So for us as a coach, to show them details of the game, guys will appreciate it because every single player on your team, they want to get better. They want to have success. They want to They want to be part of the solution. So by giving them tools of the player they like, sometimes it's, those guys are your best assistant coach, just showing support and sometimes just telling him what to do. So their visuals, they like the them out a lot more tool.
Yeah, and I think that's a huge point, Louis, that they learn to watch like a coach or with a critical eye. As you say, they all watch highlights, and that's really how they see the game being played. Often they don't sit down and watch an entire game, but if you can spend some time with them individually, show them how it relates to their game, and again, picking a player that is an accurate comparable. I mean, everyone might pick their favorite player, Sidney Crosby, but that might not be the same player that plays the same style of game as them. So for a player like Nick to look at Maroon, here he is in front of the net. Why is there value in that? Here he is playing low in the corners. Here he is supporting the puck in the defensive zone. All those elements of the game that he can then go and watch for himself will help him improve. And it also, for me as a coach, to sit down with that player, he can come up with some ideas with, these are some things I want to work on in practice, and realizing this is what it's going to take to play at the next level. I got to put the work into practice on these specific areas.
And I think what's important, guys, is once you sit down with a player, I think they need to tell you who they like and who they compare themselves to, because sometimes telling a player, oh, I think you're going to be a Pat Maroon, but he thinks in his head he's a Sidney Crosby, it's not going to help. So we do that. Well, the assistant coaches do that early on in the year. They go sat down, what player do you like? Who do you compare your game to? So to really work with them, and after that, you can use that player all year long. We had a guy like Mihail Abramov, he doesn't see himself as a Pat Maroon. He sees himself as a Michael Nylander. So when you look at Nylanders, you can trim down clips, and then he's going to be able to refer to that and be excited about it and see it and practice what Nylander is doing on the ice. So this is something I think important to the player as well.
No, I think that's excellent feedback. I really appreciate it, guys. And so we'll go to the comments. Louis, it looks like Josh here paid somebody to come on today. Tim said Dixon is the man. So I'm sorry, Louis. There's nobody saying that you're the man. Only Josh. Right
That's
now.
okay. Josh is a great man, a great coach.
And so far, we have no questions, but I'd love to open it up. Please write your questions into the chat section of the YouTube and let us answer it. We'll wait a couple moments here to see if there are any questions, but hey, you guys might have done such a good job presenting that covered every question before anybody even had to ask them. So we'll see what happens here. We'll give it a couple minutes. Oh, thank you, Barclay. Barclay just chimed in and said, guys, thanks for the presentation. It was informative.
And it's tough to cover all aspect, Mark. There's so much to do on the platform.
Actually,
there's so much more that we can use.
Louis, let me interrupt you quickly. Can we go over Gatineau's prospects? Can you scout them on here?
Well, we do have access, with the platforms to see some clips for the upcoming draft. There's some games that are on it. It's really good also for the European draft. When you have access to all the leagues and all the data around the world. So as far as the prospects, it depends where they're playing. But it's once we were able to have a game, obviously I asked the assistant coach or the scouting part, and Victor, our GM used it a lot for whether it's a prospects or for a trade. So everybody in the organization can use it really wisely and can benefit from it.
No, I appreciate you bringing that up. I think that's something that we really pride ourselves on, is providing that international video coverage and making it a little easier for everybody to see as many prospects from their computer instead of potentially having to fly somewhere or drive somewhere, maybe narrow down their list before going out to really examine a player in person, or going out and seeing players and then being able to track them from our platform throughout the course of the season. So with that being said, guys, I guess we answered all the questions here. So I really appreciate it. Thank you both so much. I hope you enjoy your Cinco de Mayo. And, I'll talk to you both, I'm sure, pretty soon. Thank you so much. Oh, wait. How much in-game adjustments do you guys make with video, or are you really sticking to your game plan?
Well, in-game video is really looking at all the tendencies, and I liked after a period to watch our special team. I like to watch the scoring chances. Where are they from? If there's some special face-offs or little adjustment here and there, but I don't believe in changing a game plan during the course of the game. Is really to stick to what we believe in, the identity. There's so many games. If we start changing the systems every period, every shift, I think the players get lost. So, in games, like I said, minor adjustment or little details that we can see, but really system-wise can be a breakout the way they pressure. But it's just going to be like going individually with the group of forwards or defensemen to give them tools to be a little bit more successful.
Yeah, I think that's the key. Special teams first off. I mean, if your opponent scored on their power play, okay, is there something we're missing on the penalty kill? What are they looking for? Is there adjustment we have to make, as Louis said, likely in zone, sometimes on the forecheck? Same thing with the power play. Do we need to throw a different adjustment on our breakout, or is there another option that's open? And these are conversations that you have with your coaching staff. You come in the room between periods, take a look at the video. I like to look at the chances. Let's see our chances for, chances against. Is there something we're doing well that we just want to make a point of? Let's continue to do this. Let's continue to get traffic in front of the net. Let's continue to work the puck to F3 high in the offensive zone, or low to high is open. Let's use the D more. Those are just some things you can give feedback to the players on by seeing the video. But to Louis' point, I think it's just for the coach to be aware of any areas that are working well, or any changes that maybe need to be made in terms of tweaks. But to throw your whole game plan out the window 20 minutes in, obviously it wasn't the right game plan to begin with.
Well, and then, like you said, I think, it started with preparation, using the InStat platform. And like I said, if you use it wisely, I think you can put up a great game plan where you're not surprised by anything. I think to be prepared as a coach is knowing the other team tendencies. You cannot share all the information with your players because their head will be full, but to know a little bit ahead of time, that way you're ready to go. But I think it's our job as a staff to be prepared, prepare our player the right way. That way, team won't change drastically during the course of a game. There's some stuff that you might be doing wrong or not as good as you would like to. This is the things you focus on. But regarding system and stuff like that, I think it all starts by preparation, and it's our job as a coach.
Another question, guys, do you use InStat for pregame presentation or use another software?
Well, we earlier on, I didn't use InStats for presentation because I didn't know like all those graphics are able to trim. As I got to know the platform, we used it. We use it with that, especially with the special teams. Carl and Nick were using them, and they were able to put trims. Cal showed the last 10 goals, against, for them on the PK. So for our power play to see how they allow goals. So we use it directly with that. I liked it. I've used it also with Hockey Canada, where I'm able to show right after that, before the game, to show clips within stats. I think it's a lot easier and a lot faster than creating a movie, putting it at the other platform, and then trimming it again. So by having being capable of trimming games right away, I think it saved a lot of time.
And the sharing component too, to add on to what Louis is saying, as we talked about with the individual video, you can click on a link and send the video over to the player, whether it's their individual shifts, whether it's maybe the power play, maybe it's how the other team kills penalties. Those sorts of things really help for your preparation. And that's the nice thing about the platform's ability to share it versus other platforms where you might have it, the coach might have it on his laptop, but the coaching staff's the only one that have access to it. So the sharing function makes it really, really user-friendly as well.
One thing we did, Mark, this year is we had a Facebook group with our team. It was a private page. And sometime when you played 3-3, and I remember one game we were in Blainville, it was a 2-hour bus ride. So with the platform, we were able to build a little pre-scout with it, put some videos together, and I was able to download it and put it on the Facebook page for the players to have access and rewatch it as many times as they want, whether it was face-offs, power play, PK. So it saved a lot of time. Once we got to the rink, we were able to go and say, you guys saw the clips, any thoughts? Or remember, like the low play backdoor might be a good option today. Or just in the OZP, like, hey, they're going to look to block a lot of shots. So D, let's make sure that you work side to side, change your angle. So we did a lot of that. And I think the players liked it because it kept our meeting a lot shorter. So Once you get to the rink and you play at 3-3, or you play 68 games in a season, we can't forget that the players are going to school. They have girlfriends, they have a PlayStation. So their attention span, and before a game, you need to have a short meeting. So by being able to send that to them before, it helped.
That's a pretty cool idea. I really like that idea. And the next question we have is, can you see averages for a player with multiple games? Example, can you see where a goalie is weakest for several games or just per game? So if one of you could actually share your page, I can guide you through this. But Louis, you had shared your goaltender page, I believe, for pre-scout, correct?
Yep.
Do you still have that to share?
Narrow down the number of games that you're looking at.
Yes, you would just go to exactly. So you would go to that top section there where it says number of games, and you would be able to choose 3 games, individual games, and or current season, all games of current year, last month, etc. on that page.
And what I like here is when you look at the goals, is the expected goals. So sometime like long shot, like here, you see it was a 0.01. So you can tell, don't be scared to take long shot, or you can see tendencies. Heavy goalies sometimes allow bad shot, but sometimes you can pick some things out. Is it going to be like on a wide angle? Is it going to be like more on the left side, more on the right side? He's allowing those goals. So having that and seeing whether it's the last month or the last 3 games, you have a tendency of, is he on a hot streak, or is he being a little weaker right now? So
that's very good insight. That's very good insight. No, guys, I appreciate it. I haven't seen any questions come up. Andre, you got your question responded to, apparently. So I appreciate you inquiring, and glad it was answered. If anybody else has any questions, we'll stay here for a couple moments. There's a bit of a lag between the Zoom and the YouTube, so we'll stay for just a couple moments. But thank you everybody for attending. And Louis, Josh, I've already said it a couple minutes ago before the questions came in, but thank you very much. We appreciate it. We appreciate you walking through how you use InStat. Thank you so much.
Thanks, Mark.
Thanks, Mark. Thanks, Lloyd.